poll of over 60,000 mothers found that stay-at-home moms were more likely to be depressed than working moms.
28% of stay-at-home moms have reported that they have experienced depression, but why?
Yeah.
So I guess they say some mothers who feel depressed may find that they actually found work more fulfilling outside of the home.
Right. Well, I think that, you know, a lot of people who end up they think, oh, I'm gonna have a kid and it's gonna be the best. If I stay at home, I'm able to be at home with my child.
Yeah.
But it may not be as fulfilling as you thought it might be. I remember being a little kid and begging, crying for my mother to stay home.
Yeah.
Begging. And she was like, look, I have to work.
Yep.
You know?
People have this idea of at home, like you're just like at home. No, there's a big difference between me being at home with my dog and being at home with a 2-year-old.
Right.
You know, huge difference. And a lot of times I think that the economic stress of you may be staying at home with your child because you have to.
Yes.
Because I know plenty of people who have economically looked at the situation and been like, it's not worth having both people work outside of the home if it was a 2-parent household because of the cost of childcare.
Yes, it's crazy. Trust me, I get that. So does this mean that being a stay-at-home mother is harder than being a working mother? We asked on Facebook, which was harder. 62% of you said working mom, 38% said stay-at-home mom, okay? And I also I understand that, you know, because people are saying, you know, because you also have to do all the work as well when you're working outside of the house as well.
Yeah, but this is the thing too about saying there's no downtime.
No.
You know, I think when you're at work, there's not necessarily downtime.
Yeah.
Because I know I think about my mother being at work and she was a single parent and all day at work, she's also dealing with all of my school stuff, all of my whatever. And then there's, you know, you got to get home and deal with all of that. But I think when you're at home, it's the same kind of stress. It's work.
Yes,
it's just
work. Well, joining us on the phone is Robyn, a stay-at-home mother from Atlanta. Welcome to Me Time, Robyn.
Hi, lady.
Well, Robyn, you were a working mother with your first son and decided to stay at home with your second. Was it different than you expected?
Absolutely. I was so surprised by how hard it was. And don't get me wrong, like I think every mother would say that, you know, being a mother is probably the hardest job in the world.
Right.
You know, parenting is hard no matter how you cut it. But yes, the first son, he's now 23, and I had no choice but to work all of those years.
Yeah.
And of course, all I ever wanted to do, you know, I didn't want to have to pay someone to take care of my son. I wished and longed for, you know, those hours that he was away from me, and I had to literally pay somebody to care for him.
Yeah.
But I had to work then.
Yep.
And then fast forward until I have my second son. He will be 5 soon. And so essentially, I was surprised by the lack of, like you guys say, me time. There was none. There is no me time. And as much as I feel blessed to have had that opportunity to stay home with my youngest, it was, I've never in my life had to fight or work hard for my mental health as I did when I had zero me time for months and months that turned into years and years.
Yeah, you can't even go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you're right.
You literally cannot.
No, you can't.
Child follows you right in.
Yes.
Right.
And
you know, and I don't, I'm sorry, I was just going to say, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because he is just the light of my life, but
oh, girl, you can complain here. We know you love him.
Yes.
Well, I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect to have to fight for my mental health, you know, to be happy.
Right.
And now I can look back and see that it was essentially because I was overwhelmed for months and months and months and months.
Do you have any advice for other stay-at-home moms or who are about to do it and maybe don't know what to expect?
Yes. A support base is vital. Without a support base, even if it's just, you know, complaining to your girlfriends every couple of hours or, you know, for a while, just to get it off your chest so that someone else understands what you're going through.
Yes.
That's right.
Vent
and
without judgment.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Robyn, for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Now joining us in the studio is Dr. Romi Mouhibian, a clinical psychologist. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Romi.
Yes, okay. So, what are the unique challenges of being a stay-at-home mom, and how can we help people get through it?
So I think Robyn pointed out a lot of really good ones. The primary one being you're spending hours and hours at home either alone or with a very young child. And that's hard when you're an adult to only be either communicating with a child or have a baby and you're not having real discussions with anyone all day long. On top of that, another thing that's difficult is, especially if you used to work or you're used to having worked, or maybe you had a mother who worked, you may feel like you're not accomplishing as much as you could be or as you have been in the past because you're not bringing home a tangible paycheck, right, at the end of the day. So that can be another really difficult thing for stay-at-home moms is how do you gauge what you're doing in a day?
Right. I feel like, you know, the big item here with stay-at-home or SAMs, stay-at-home moms, is the isolation.
Yeah.
You know, you are isolated. You are by yourself with a small child, and who often up until like they're 2.5 or 2 years old cannot communicate with you verbally.
And then when they do, the communication tends to be more like, no!
Exactly, you're getting screamed at.
There's not so much give and take, it seems like.
And that isolation's a big factor.
And we're social beings, right? There was a time when we all raised children in a village.
Right.
You know?
So then you had other moms you were communicating with on a daily basis.
Exactly, and that's gone now for a lot of people.
So what can some stay-at-home moms do to help combat these feelings?
So I think Robyn brought up a good point, having a social support system, and you just brought up a good point. You need to have other mothers around you, or at least people who have been through it or understand what you're going through. Not people who are just gonna nod and say yes, yes, but people that really understand what you're going through. On top of that, I think exercising every day is a really important factor. And I don't mean going to the gym, right? You're thinking, well, when am I gonna exercise? I have a 2-year-old. It could be waking up 20 minutes early and just doing some stretches, honestly. And that's communicating to yourself that you're worth it and you're important and you deserve that time. So that's a really big thing that you can do. Eating healthy would be another one, right? Just taking care of yourself in little ways.
I feel like I hear those two pieces of advice a lot.
Yeah, take care of yourself and exercise, right?
There might be something to them. Thank you so much,
Dr. Romi. Thank you so much.
Me Time with Frangela.